Now kindly come to Delhi. Justice Fazal Ali Committee, what it feels about Delhi, page 10, para 27. With regard to Delhi and its status as the national capital, it had been specifically observed by the Commission as under. It is hardly necessary to discuss in any detail the reasons why Delhi, if it is to continue as the union capital, cannot be made part of a full-fledged constituent unit of the Indian Union. Even under a unitary system of government, the normal practice is to place national capitals under a special dispensation. In France, for example, there is a greater degree of central control over Paris than over other municipalities. In England, I'll come to that if need be, my learned colleague, Mr. Faras's submission. In England, the police administration of the metropolitan area is directly under the control of the Home Secretary, who does not exercise similar powers in respect of other municipal areas. Apart from reasons which are peculiar to each country or city, there are some general considerations necessitating special arrangements in respect of national capitals. Capital cities possess or come to possess some degree of political and social predominance. They are seats of national governments with considerable property belonging to these governments. Foreign diplomatic missions and international agencies are located in these capitals. They also become centers of national culture and art. So far as federal capitals are concerned, there is also an additional consideration. Any constitutional division of powers, if it is applicable to units functioning in the seats of national government, is bound to give rise to embarrassing situations. Practice in other countries, administrative necessity, and desirability of avoiding conflicting jurisdictions all point to the need for effective control of national governments over federal capitals. It may be recalled that the desirability of excluding the seat of central government from the jurisdiction of a provincial government was one of the main considerations which led to the transfer of imperial capital from Calcutta in 1912. Lordship may skip the rest, 589. It is conceded that the national capital has to be under the effective control of national government, and both New Delhi and Old Delhi have to be treated as a single unit for administrative purposes. There will be a little scope for difference of opinion on its future administrative pattern. Lord, kindly turn the page and come to page 591. In devising a system of government for Delhi, therefore, we must take into account primarily the requirements and aspirations of cosmopolitan urban population. Urban problems such as slum clearance, reconstruction, city planning, recreation, transportation, and primary and secondary education all fall within the domain of municipal, finance, and enterprise. If we are to be guided by these clear considerations as well as by the experience of other advanced countries. Municipal autonomy for Delhi in the form of a corporation would appear to be the most appropriate method of meeting and reconciling the broader requirements of the national government as well as the local needs and wishes of the people. We have given careful consideration to the argument that a denial to the people of Delhi of the benefits of popular government at state level would be a retrograde step. It has to be realized that if Delhi is to continue to be the seat of central government, it must adopt a model which is sound in principle and administratively workable in practice. People residing in national capitals enjoy an advantageous position and they must be prepared to pay some price for it. It may be pointed out that the legal residents of the District of Columbia in USA, are at present totally disfranchised. Then they say that that should not happen. Last three lines. We are definitely of the view that municipal autonomy in the form of corporation, which will provide greater local autonomy than is the important federal capital, is the right and in fact the only solution to the problem of Delhi. Thereafter, final recommendations are given in the similar terms. Now comes the Constitution 7th Amendment. For the first time, the Constitution is amended based on the report of Justice Fazal Ali Commission. And the concept of union territory comes, and this is very, very relevant. But for this reason, when your lordships would examine the constitutional provisions, particularly with respect to service, your lordships would find that there are several amendments made through Constitution's 7th Amendment Act. The constitutional amendments have made provisions by way of amending service provisions, but there is a conscious decision to keep the union territories out. To put it differently, for the first time, the concept of union territory constitutionally comes under the 7th Amendment, with other amendments under the 7th Amendment. But union territory is given a separate treatment and not the treatment which is given to other federating states. Lord, kindly see. Article 1, Lord, this is now post-amendment. India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states.
1 minute. Which page?
I'm sorry, my lord, page 12, para 30. This is reproducing, my lord, the Article 1 post 7th Amendment, which was based on the report of Justice Fazal Ali Commission.
Yes.
India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. The states and the territories thereof shall be as specified in the first schedule. In the first schedule, there was an amendment where Delhi and others were shown as union territories, rest federating states. The territory of India shall comprise the territories of the states, the union territories specified in the first schedule, and such other territories as may be acquired. We were very, very ambitious, even at that time, that we might acquire some more territories, which, of course, we did acquire, not in the sense of invasion and acquire, but Sikkim came in 74. Thereafter, I have given, in a tabular format for your lordship's convenience, what happened in 7th Amendment, pre-amendment position on the left column and post-amendment position on the right column. But your lordship will not kindly come to page 21 direct.
Yes.
Lord, this may kindly be read a little closely. Your lordship knows, my lord, the provisions of services is made in part 14 of the Constitution of India. Part 14 came to be amended by 7th Amendment. That is the lordships would find at 308, the bottom foot of page 21. Left hand side is pre-constitution, right hand side is post. Interpretation. In this part, unless the context otherwise requires, the expression state means a state specified in part A or part B of the first schedule.
Page 21.
I'm sorry, your ladyship, it is page 21 at the foot, article 308, which is the first article in part 14 of the Constitution. The heading is services. Services of union and the states. Why, my lord, I show this for 3 reasons, which I'll, my lord, assist your lordship with subsequently. Lord, before the constitutional amendment by the 7th Amendment, interpretation was in this part, unless the context otherwise requires, the expression state means a state specified in part A or part B of the first schedule, meaning thereby, even before the Constitution, for part C states, there was no separate service contemplated, which now becomes steril. It was only for the federating states. Now, when the Constitution was being amended under 7th Amendment, and the concept of union territory was being introduced. If the framers of the constitution by the parliament wanted to have a separate union territory service, it would have done so because this is amended simultaneously. Seventh Amendment introduces union territory and also amends 308. Now see what is the amended provision of 308. Right hand side. Interpretation. In this part, unless the context otherwise requires, the expression state does not include the state of Jammu and Kashmir. The state as defined under Article 1 under the 7th schedule, that is federating state. Only exception, Jammu and Kashmir for reasons which were prevailing before 2019. Jammu and Kashmir was always used to be excluded. Meaning thereby, the very amendment which introduces union territory does not introduce the term union territory in the chapter which is under the heading of services under the union and the states. So there is no contemplation of a separate service for union territory. Now, my lord, 309. My lord, let me read the pre-amended provision. Recruitment and conditions of service of persons serving the union or a state, subject to the provisions of this constitution, act of the appropriate legislature may regulate the recruitment and conditions of service of persons appointed to public services and posts in connection with the affairs of the union or any state. Here, my lord, because of 308, state would necessarily mean federating state, not union territory. Nothing prevented Parliament to say so. Now, proviso is relevant and will give guide, my lord, assistance to your lordships. Why? Provided that it shall be competent for the president or such person as he may direct in the case of services and post in connection with the affairs of the union. Lord, UT is affairs of the union, first of all. It's an extension of the union. But leave it at that. Next. And for governor or Raj Pramukh of a state or such person as he may direct in case of services and post in connection with affairs of the state to make rules, etc. Why, my lord, I am highlighting? Raj Pramukh was only for Part A and Part B states. There was no Raj Pramukh for Part C states. When the constitution framers, my lord, the parliament amends the constitution, introduces union territory for the first time by this very amendment. What it says, my lord, it doesn't say. It could have logically said if it intended to introduce union territory to have a separate service. That president for services for the officers under the service of the union, governor for services under the state, and administrator for the purpose of services under the UT. Kindly see, my lord, what it says. My lord, right hand side proviso. Provided that it shall be competent for the president or such person as he may direct in the case of services and posts in connection with the affairs of the union, and for the governor, the Raj Pramukh word is deleted because now A and B states have gone. It became federating states, but no introduction of administrator. And I'll show administrator also comes along with UT by this very amendment. Governor of a state or such person as he may direct in so and so.